Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here in Antwerp with a brand new brew review for you guys. And today might mean redemption for a brewery that made one of the worst beers I've ever tasted. If you guys missed this atrocity, I'll gladly refer you to Hommelbier alcohol free. I think that was brew review 405. Yeah, I tasted it so you guys don't have to. Now, even in that review, I did state that it came as a surprise to me because I am familiar with the Leroy Brewery and I know for a fact that they make decent beers. So let's hope that this Hommelbier 2025 is one of those. In fact, even the late Michael Jackson, who coined the idea that west-vleteren 12 is the best beer in the world, stated on several occasions that Poperings Hommelbier is the predecessor of pretty much all modern era IPAs with its generous dry hopping and dry bitter taste. The original Hommelbier was brewed in 1981 as a one-off in honor of the hop parade in Poperingen. Back then that part of West-Flanders was still known as Europe's hop shed. Karel Leroy, 11th generation family brewer in those days for Van Eyck, brewed this Hommelbier with 7.5% ABV and a shitload of hops during the lagering phase, and people liked it so much that they had to keep brewing it. Now the name Hommelbier also refers to hops, as Hommel is the local name for hops and is derived from, among other things, the Latin name for a hop plant being Humulus lupulus. Now, in the almost 45 years that Hommelbier exists, the Leroy family never stopped experimenting with dry hopping. They have introduced a Hommel dry hopped and an annual limited edition Hommelbier Fresh Harvest with fresh bells of locally grown hops. And these hop bells are slightly dried and ground to facilitate an easier cleaning of the kettles. And the rest of the brewing process is a well-kept secret. Now, just like its namesake beer, the regular Poperings Hommelbier, the Fresh Harvest also has 7.5% ABV, but it has a whopping 42 IBUs as opposed to the 35 IBUs in the original. And full disclosure, I must admit that I have no idea when the Leroy family started the limited edition Fresh Harvest, because I honestly thought this was a recent thing. Since I've only discovered this a few years back, but I have seen bottles dating as far back as 2012, so who knows. Anyway, let's not wait any longer, let's bat an eye to this bottle. The front of the bottle doesn't say Fresh Harvest anymore, however the back of the bottle does say a few things. I think this is a absolutely lovely design. They used to have very loud and very busy bottles, much like the original label for the Hommelbier, with a lot of green lines and stuff. But I do love this this design. Now the back is a different story. First off, this beer has a shelf life of about 3 years, which for a dry hopped beer is quite long. It is a 7.5% ABV, and the bottle says brewed with Belgian hops. It even has that that trademark. Belgian family brewers, also a well-known logo. And then the beer says, a brew with freshly picked hops from Poperingen. The knowledge of 11 generations and 450 years of Leroy brewing tradition results in this unique Belgian golden ale. Ingredients: water, barley malt, hops and yeast. So clean as a whistle. And it does say 11 generation, but after Karel in 1981, his son Philip took over the brewery, and now Philip's son, again Karel, is the 13th generation brewing in the Leroy family. So they keep on going. And actually I think it's a very nice idea that they only mention 11 generations here, because they could have said 13 to make it sound more or bigger or better, and They just kept it with cattle in the 11th generation. Ooh. Ooh. Generic cork here. I should upgrade my cork glass. Well, they call it a golden ale, but it is slightly paler than I expected. As usual, nothing wrong with that at all. But I just expected it to be a bit darker. However, it does have that beautiful golden color. No remarks here. A lot of nice pearling in the glass, nice amount of carbonation. I was a bit enthusiastic, a bit wild, so I do have a larger head than I anticipated. But nonetheless, beautiful white foam, mixed density, some larger bubbles, some small bubbles. Very, very nice. Beautiful color, nice and clear as well. Smells very, very malty. I must say it does have a sweet scent to it as well. Even slightly savory, but mainly malty. It's not as hoppy in the nose as the bottle or the story has us expecting. Very nice, very classic. So let's have a taste. Cheers. Oh, that is nice. Yeah, this is absolutely beautiful. In the sense that it's surprising. The very first sip is very malty and ever so slightly sweet. And as the beer rolls over the tongue towards the throat, you get all kinds of sensations. So it starts out malty, slightly sweet, and then the hops kick in. But it's not in your face, it's not a punch, it is like a lovely hoppiness that comes towards you. And this does remind me of classic noble hops. And by that I mean like a Saaz, for example, or all those Czech Republic, Slovenia, Germany, all those typical noble hops, Styrian, and so on and so on. So a very aromatic, a very subtle and balanced hoppiness, and after that the bitterness kicks in. So even in that first sip we've had 3 or 4 stages of flavor upon flavor upon flavor, which is very surprising and very unique. People don't really brew like that anymore. Yeah, the first thing that stands out here is balance. Again, I know this is a word that I very often use, but this beer is one of the most well-balanced beers I've ever had, I believe, because it balances so greatly between that maltiness, that I don't want to call it sweet, let's keep it at maltiness, with that dry and bitterness of those hops, and it's a constant fight inside your mouth. Yeah, beautiful. And what's also very surprising is that even the aftertaste, it is very carbonated. So we get some carbon dioxide in the initial taste as well as the overall taste as well as the aftertaste. But instead of boosting the alcohol, the booziness, it seems to boost that maltiness. So even in the aftertaste, I do get some bitterness, some dryness, some carbon dioxide, but that maltiness is very, very present in the aftertaste as well. And what I also find surprising is that it doesn't really have a very herbal taste. However, I do get a tiny hint of licorice. I'd say slightly grassy flavors from those fresh hops, of course. So yeah, it's hard to describe. A bit grassy, a tiny hint of citrus, but I do mean citrus zest, so not the fruit itself. A tiny bit of yeah, licorice, or like not the candy licorice, but the wood, the root licorice. A bit of tree bark, actually, a bit of pine. But all subtle and soft. So yeah, again, very, very, very nice. It doesn't often happen that I refill my glass during the video, so that must say something as well. Let's call this a day. How should I score this beer? Well, I've been nothing but enthusiastic about this. I am impressed, and this absolutely does mean redemption for Leroy breweries, or what used to be Van Eyck. I'm giving this an easy 375, maybe even a 4. Yeah. So yeah, go out and get you one of these. I think if you find these in your local supermarket, it's about a 10 bucks a bottle. Maybe if you find them online. Unfortunately, the Leroy website hasn't been updated in over 4 years, so, and they don't sell this. But I think if you find it at the Mr. Hop website, or there are several beer websites, you'll probably pay about 15 bucks or something like that. So yeah, go ahead, get yourself one of these, and let me know what you think about it. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. We are almost at 300 subscribers. Which is almost 300 more than I expected when I started this journey. If you guys want to meet up, send me an email. If you want to get in touch, comment section is the way to go. If you want to support this channel, share a video or take a look at the Patreon page. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.